Hello and welcome to the Wealthy Trades Daily Market Forecast for May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 2015. As you can tell, still not over this cold. This thing is kind of kicking my butt, but let's dive right in. All right, don't need you guys to feel sorry for me. Let's dive right in. Let's talk about what we did yesterday. We did a pairs trade yesterday. We were long CF and short McDonald's, and the trade ended up pretty nice. McDonald's shorted at 96.57. That was the open. It actually ended up rallying and putting in a high. It looked like it was going to be a pretty lousy trade at first. But anyway, it actually ended up closing at 96.13. So actually, that was a decent trade. And then we were long CF, and this one looked really good to start with. This one rallied nicely. Got long at 93.82. Put a high in at 97.29. That was about the same time McDonald's was putting its high. Closed at 93.80, so just ever so slight profit, but basically a break even on that. Overall, up about a quarter of a percent, which is really kind of what the market was up, which is a quarter of a percent. So kind of tracked the market, so decent. We are also in our weekly trades. We are also short SWN. SWN opened at, this is for our weekly trade, opened at 28.80, closed at 28.88, so about break even. And then our long trade, we are long UNH. That opened at 113.70 and closed at 114.56. But the closing price right now for SWN and UNH doesn't matter because we are long through the entire week. Now remember, on UNH, I'm going to add at 115.51, or if it hits 110.89, because those are decent levels. Those are the levels to win levels, and those are good levels to trade at. If you would have, I showed this yesterday, the performance last month, April for the day trades was really good. We were up about 2.2% or something like that overall, and it was pretty good in comparison to the market. But if you would have taken the trades and added at those levels to win levels, you'd be up even more. There were a couple days in April that the price hit the levels to win level and really performed well. So you need to pay attention to those. Those are very, very important levels. Let's look. I want to look a little bit at the SPY, okay? Because again, we are trying to break out this 211 area. This is just kind of been in our face, and you might be wondering, well, why is the SPY in a downtrend? Technically, it's in a downtrend, right? The bars are purple, arrows pointing down. The reason why is because when we broke this pivot, all right, we put a pivot low in at 209.33 on April 28th. When we broke and closed below that pivot on the 30th, we shifted into a downtrend. Now, the pivot that we need to break on the upside is the key pivot high. It's the all-time high in the SPY, which is 212.48. So here's the thing: if we break 212.48 and we rally and close above that level, I believe, I'm going to go on the records and say this, if we break and close above 212.48, that is going to be a start of a very, very aggressive rally. I'm not saying we're going to break that today. In fact, we might not even break that for a while. But if we do break and close above 212.48, we are going to rally aggressively. So let's watch that. Technically, we are still surprisingly kind of in a downtrend. We got 55.4% of the stocks moving down. You might be wondering, well, how are we in a downtrend when the market is, 0.5% away from its all-time high? The reason why is because the breadth, okay, get this, the breadth of the rally has not been great. Meaning, yes, we are at an all-time high, but there's stocks within the S&P 500 that have a higher weight than other stocks, all right? It's kind of a somewhat of a backwards calculation where the market can be rallying up, but the overall stocks within the market, a lot of the stocks really aren't performing well. And that's kind of the environment we're in right now. Even though the market is rallying well, there's a lot of stocks within the market that are not performing well at all. So that's the reason why we're in this downtrend. And it's not an aggressive downtrend, but we are in a downtrend. Now, it's been bumping around this, 55% of the stocks in a downtrend. We get close to 52, 55% in the uptrend. We really haven't had a real robust uptrend. Like, for example, the monthly uptrend has been a robust uptrend for like 2.5, like 3 years, a long time. All right, well, we haven't had a real robust uptrend or downtrend on a daily basis for a while, which is kind of the reason why we've done a whole lot of pairs trading. In fact, look at this. In April, since April 1st, there's only been 1, 2, 3 days where we took a directional bias, meaning that out of all these trading days, so essentially out of 23 trading days, only 3 of those days did we have a quality above 50%. That tells you that this market's been really, really choppy, obviously, between that level of 212 and 204 to the downside. But today we are going to do a pairs trade. We're going to do much like we've done basically since the beginning of April. The consumer discretionary sector is the best sector to short, all right, because we're in a downtrend. Quality's below 50%, so we're going to pair it up, but consumer discretionary is the best. Has the highest quality, all right, the quality gauge. Remember, this is ranked in the quality gauge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the consumer discretionary sector itself, the XLY, by hitting the plus, into my portfolio, and then I'm going to scroll down and bring all the stocks, the 8 stocks within the consumer discretionaries, into my portfolio also, okay? All right, so I'm bringing all these over into my portfolio. And I'm going to go to my portfolio, which is the middle tab right here. All right, I'm going to go to my portfolio and I'm going to find the best shorting opportunity. First, I'm going to use my first technique of pair down, which is eliminate anything that doesn't make money on the levels to win profit. Now, I want to make it very clear what this levels to win profit is, and I repeat myself a lot because it's so important for you to understand what this data is telling you. What this data is telling me is this, all right? Discovery closed at 33.37 yesterday, which was Monday's close. So for today, Tuesday, what this does is this looks at X number of historical Tuesdays. It doesn't look at Mondays or Wednesdays or Fridays. It looks at Tuesdays, and the reason why it looks at Tuesdays is because the data is for a Tuesday. So let's look at Tuesdays. So the last X number of Tuesdays that Discovery was in a downtrend, what happened? That's what we want to know. And it projects how far it should move down and how far it should move up based on yesterday's closing price. So yesterday's closing price, 33.37. That's what it closed at. So it's saying, levels to win is saying it should go down to $33 or up to $33.76. And then it says, historically, on a Tuesday when it's in a downtrend, it should hit that $33 51.9% of the time. That's historically how often it happens. It closes below it, below this level 23.1% of the time. Whereas on the other side, 33.76, it only hits that level on a Tuesday in a downtrend historically. All right, think about that. How powerful is that? So in a very similar environment on a Tuesday in a downtrend, it only hits the expected upside, which is 33.76, 25% of the time, and it only has a 7.7% probability of closing above that. Okay, very powerful. But then the levels to win profit tells us when it hits this on a Tuesday in a downtrend, does it continue to trade down and close below this level because it's in a downtrend? And if it makes money here, the answer is yes. On the counter trend side, we ask the question, when it hits this level on a Tuesday in a downtrend, so it would have to rally up and hit 33.76 today, does it typically hit that level, bounce off, and close below it because we're in a downtrend? And if it makes money, then the answer is yes. So basically, we just want it to make money on both sides. That shows you the quality. It's another way to gauge the quality of the trend. Okay, so DISCA fits our rules. UNH and SWN are our weekly trades. RCL, here's one. So RCL, for example, if I was to trade an RCL, all right, this isn't a bad stock to trade in today, but obviously you need to take a short bias. But here's the thing: is let's say I go short at the open. Well, if I went short at the open and it starts to rally up, well, the expected high today is 69.07. Well, what should I do if it hits that? That should be my stop, and the reason why is because that's the expected high, and historically, on a Tuesday, when Royal Caribbean is in a downtrend and it hits this expected high, it tends to close higher, and I know that because it loses money by shorting there. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of RCL. Again, it might be a great shorting opportunity, but that's just the place you want to place your stop. PVH, same example. If you go short, a good place to go place your stop is 106.38, but I'm going to just eliminate it. Again, we're just trying to find the best shorting opportunities. Now I'm eliminating anything that doesn't make money on both sides. Okay, so all these make money. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my use the spread between the levels on levels, trend side, and counter trend side. So I want to see a high number on the trend side and a low number on the counter trend side. So this is not a good example. This is not a good example at all. XLY, in fact, XLY has a higher probability of rallying today and closing above its trend side than it does its counter trend side. So I don't love that. I actually don't love that at all. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Give me a second here. We're going to look for a shorting opportunity in the XLY, but I do want to look at the others. XLV doesn't look great either. XLP doesn't look great. XLI actually looks the best. So why? So look at XLI on a Tuesday in a downtrend. It has a 34% chance of closing below its trend side downside and only 21. So why isn't this one ranked better than XLY? Well, one of the reasons why is because look at this. XLI only has 53.8% of the 65 stocks in it in a downtrend, whereas XLY has 67% of its stocks in a downtrend. So the breadth of the XLY is actually much better. So what we could do is potentially, I'm going to stick with the XLY, but looking for shorting opportunities in the XLI actually might be a good idea too. But I'm going to stick with the XLY because we are doing a Paris trade. If we were doing a straight directional trade and I saw something like that, I might go into a different sector, but I'm not going to. So, all right, look at this, 40 and 7. That's phenomenal. 30. It's better than 30 and 15. And what do I mean by that? So here's what I know. Coach closed at 38.17. Trend side is lower than that because it's in a downtrend, and it should hit 37.51. It's got a 61% probability historically of hitting that. Means on a Tuesday in a downtrend, historically, Coach hits its downside 61% of the time. Its expected high is 38.77. It only has a 23.1% probability of doing that. But look at this, and it makes money on both sides, meaning it makes money. If you shorted at this level historically, you made money. If you shorted at this level historically on a Tuesday, you made money. But the thing I love about it is it's got a 40.4% probability of closing below this level and only a 7.7% chance of closing above this level. So we want a widespread. That's phenomenal. So COH looks really good. Looks better than JCI. Looks better than JWN. Looks better than Comcast. And looks better than Discovery. So COH is going to be our short. And then we're going to pair that. And again, the reason why I'm not going into, I'm maybe not drilling this a little deeper. I don't love the stats of the XLY itself, the sector. The reason why I'm not going to go into different sectors is because we're not taking a straight directional trade. We're going to pair it with a long trade, and the long is going to be in the XLB. And I don't love this either. Look at this. It's kind of weird because so the consumer discretionaries has a higher probability of rallying and closing above the trend side than it does the counter trend side. I don't love that, but again, we're going to pair it. And then the materials has a higher probability of falling and closing below the. Don't love that either. But again, Paris trade. Most of these stocks in the material sector are moving up, so I'm going to look for the best stock. That's the reason why I don't just go in. A lot of times I just don't just go into the sectors. I want to find the best stocks because within the stocks, the sector might perform. The XLB itself might fall, but the stock within the sector might rally aggressively. So, all right. So same thing. If it loses money, I'm going to get rid of it. So the XLB itself loses money, get rid of it. AA loses money, get rid of it. SWN and UNH are those are the weekly plays. So NEU looks good. NEM, get rid of it. So again, I'm just looking at the levels to win profit. It's my first filter. IFF, get rid of it. FCX, get rid of it. Okay, so here's the 4. So now I'm going to look at the spread between the levels to win. So we got 26 and 9. Compare that to 34 and 15, so almost 19 there. And so EMN is slightly better. CF, we've got 23 and 7, so 16 compared to 19, so EMN is better than that one. And then 21 EMN is better than that one also. So, okay, so here's the play. I'm going to go short coach at the open. If it hits 37.51, that's actually a decent area to add at. Also 38.77, that's a good area to add at. Close at the end of the day. Pair that with a long position, long EMN, and you can add at 79.40 or 77.88. That is the plays for today. And for the week, we are still short SWN, long UNH, and that is our plays for the week. And then for the month, like we've been since March, we've been long the XLV, and our best stock has been Coach CAH. So those are the plays. I did send out a couple earnings alerts yesterday. I'll be sending out some today, and I'm going to do a video for the earnings alerts to explain a little more in-depth thought process on how and why I pick the alerts that I pick. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, today we are going short coach at the open, long EMN, hold all day, close at the end of the day. Let me know if you have any questions. Email me at info@wealthytrades.com. Make it a great day.